All right, so now the task that we have ahead of ourselves is to essentially fill the entire background with red and remove all of the red from the interior of our Buddha statue. So I'm going to flip back to my quick mask mode here. Again, just Q on my keyboard. And as a matter of fact, I want to be a little bit more specific here with you. What I want to do is I want to fill the entire background with red, but I want to only worry about getting a nice refined edge all the way around my statue. I'm not really worried about the red on the interior of the statue, if that makes sense. I'm going to show you an extremely cool trick for wiping out all of the stuff on the inside of the statue, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. But in the meantime, what I'm going to have to do, and I'll do most of this off camera, by the way, because I don't want to bore you to death. This could take some time. I might be committing myself to probably the better part of an hour to do a really good job on this. Maybe about 45 minutes or so. But essentially what I want to do, and I always just sort of pick a spot on the edge here, is I now want to work around the entire edge, the entire contour of the object, whether it's a Buddha statue or a car or a person or whatever you have here. So in this situation, what I want to do is I now want to paint with red. I want to fill in this background here. So I'm going to have to hit the X key on my keyboard to flip back over to the black in my foreground color there and just paint this in here. But you'll notice that I'm getting a soft edge there. So what I actually want to do is I want to change my brush. I want a hard edged brush instead of this sort of this feathered effect that I'm getting here. So again, from the drop down here at the top, what I'm going to do is drop down this brush dialog and crank up my hardness all the way to 100. Enter, and now I have a nice hard edged brush. And I'll come into the statue a bit so you can see what I mean. So this is a nice hard-edged brush versus the soft edge that I had earlier. Now this is my own personal technique for working using a hard-edged brush. It's entirely up to you. So now that I've come into the statue a bit, I'm going to hit the X key again to flip back to white and then kind of work my way around the edge of the Buddha statue, something like this. So I have a nice crisp edge. And, you might even want to zoom in a little closer. You don't want to go too crazy with all this, but you want to do a half-decent job at least. And, if this is your first time using the quick mask mode, don't go crazy. Do the best you can, but, don't spend more than an afternoon. Don't spend more than a couple days on it. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention as well, and you may recall this keyboard shortcut from earlier on, is I can use the close square bracket key to increase my brush size, and there I was tapping my open square bracket key to reduce the size of my brush. So saves you the trouble of going back up to the top and adjusting your size. So again, close square bracket increases, open square bracket decreases your brush size. So I can get right in on these areas here and clean this up. And there's a lot of while you're doing this, there's a lot of hitting the X key, going back and forth. There's a lot of closed square bracket and open square bracket. There's a lot of zooming in and out to do a decent job. There's a lot of space bar to pan around inside your image, this sort of thing. So I'm going to leave the rest up to you. Do a decent job. I'm going to start going on my Buddha here, and then in the next lesson what I'll do is I'll show you a couple of neat tricks to hopefully speed this up a little bit for you.